Hi, Maria. Shehnaz here. Today, we actually want to focus on pulse electromagnetic field devices. These devices have been out in the industry for a very, very long time, over 20 years. And both me and Maria are actually using the pulse electromagnetic field device, which is why we decided that today we should help raise awareness on what pulse electromagnetic field is and also how it can enhance your healing, because it has enhanced our healing, and we are here to share everything about this subject. And tune in, listen to it, and please, if any question comes up while you're listening, write it down and send us the comment, because we would love to keep on elaborating these concepts that helps you move into your optimum power as a human being, because that's what we are doing. Me and Maria have taken full leadership role in this journey of maximizing our healing. And this year, that is one of our focus points. And we would like to help everybody who wants to follow along in this journey. So thank you, Maria, for joining me.
Thank you. I'm actually excited about this subject because we get to talk about the things that are wrong out there in the environment. Probably touch on some things that some people are going through symptomatically. And then we also get to talk about positive solutions, things that we have been through ourselves, experienced ourselves, so we can speak from a very enlightened perspective, and hopefully someone gets something out of it.
Exactly. So I'll go ahead and give my description of pulse electromagnetic field, and then Maria, you can go after me. So based on my understanding, and by the way, I would recommend everybody who wants to dive into it more. I actually did get the book, Maria, that you recommended, and I am only on like 2 or 3 pages that I read so far. So I haven't read the book, and it will be fun to do the podcast after I finish reading it. But I can tell you that pulse electromagnetic field device basically generally means that the device is using a computer and a control input to deliver the certain frequency and amplitude to your human body. And MAT is how we have been experiencing pulse electromagnetic field device, but there's many other ways to get those frequency and amplitude in your body. And the one we are using, the fact that we love it is because it does have the science to back it up on how it truly gets delivered all the way to the cell level, because that is where the quality of the device comes into play the role, that whether it's truly going all the way to the cell, and whether the frequency and amplitude that is being delivered is truly healing.
Right. Yeah, so this is fascinating. Let's talk about macro and micro. So sure. Micro being cell. So on a macro level, think about how you feel. This is just for our listeners out there. Think about how you feel when you're in a happy state, or when you feel joy, or when you feel bliss, ultimate gratitude, and things like that. So there's a reason why they say, look, your attitude and your feeling mean everything when you're going into a tough diagnosis like a breast cancer. And there's proven research that demonstrates people's state of mind and their feeling and their happiness actually make a big difference in their recovery and treatment, the whole 9 yards, your positivity, your strength, all of that. So when we're talking about pulse electromagnetic activation, or PEMF, which this is the device that Shehnaz and I have, and that it is, to my knowledge, the only activation device out there. So literally has the science to back it up, discussing at the molecular level. So when we say molecular, we mean your DNA. I mean, we literally mean all cells in your body, your DNA, your molecule. There are billions of them in your body. And what happens is it releases this really amazing magnetic pulsed frequency. So it's both magnetic and it's electric. It's not RF. It's nothing like that. It's a way to use scalar, but it's really cool because, of course, we're not going to be allowed to know the exact mechanism of action. We know everything that it does, but There are patents, obviously, to protect the devices, but we know that, in our field of existence, there are transverse waves, milliwaves that are transverse, and that they interact with us as a longitudinal wave. So what it's doing is it's helping to interpret a more positive energy. This is the way I interpret this, is that the cloud, for instance, the mat, helps interpret the energy in a different way and pushes it out into your body so that you're experiencing, I look at it as I light codes, because when not everyone feels something when they lay on it, but I certainly do. And 80 or 90% of the people that I've introduced it to feel the tingling and the microcirculation, and they can actually feel like their cells buzzing.
Exactly. And I can elaborate on that, because even though I have been using it for kind of like about 2 weeks now, and the thing that buzzing you mentioned, right? And the molecular activation, right? And I feel it right in my guts, actually. And then the very fact that I have been seeing that my microbiome is in for a ride, because I've been purging, I've been detoxing, right? All of that to me is like, I feel it. And I have been using PEMF device for over 5 years. So I already am accustomed to getting those type of healing in my body. And even then, when I started using this machine that we're talking about, it truly affected me in a more enhanced way. And I felt it. And the whole thing about what, Maria, you were just saying about that it goes all the way down, right? So it goes all the way down to your mitochondrial level, right? So it really enables your cell to absorb more energy, which actually starts this cascading effect in your blood to start decluttering the blood, starts flowing the blood, and it helps with your metabolic rate. And by the way, Maria, I've also lost 2 or 3 pounds already. And I was like, this is really hilarious, right? But the point is, it's kind of just puts everything in a better efficiency, because, you are, and that's one thing that this book actually lays out, also the PEMF book, that there are some people who are concerned, right? That when you use this device, are you interfering with your human design? And what I would like to say is no, because it's basically making your human design more efficient. It's almost like, you walk on a treadmill, right? So you use treadmill because you want to speed up your walk rather than walking in the house. It's the same thing. You're just speeding it up. So that way it enhances the entire process. And when you were talking about the transverse and longitudinal wave, right? I just want to tell everybody, just for simplicity, that longitudinal wave is what we emit from our hand, okay? Which is why Jesus would heal, right? With their hand. Or that's why Reiki works, because we are emitting longitudinal wave. Now, the mat that me and Maria are using, it actually operates on a transverse wave. However, our body emits longitudinal wave. That's just the way we are designed. And this process of electromagnetic field healing to kind of expedite your molecules to activate is one of the best way for us to protect ourselves from everything that's happening around. And do I want to say the word 5G yet?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, there's a lot of people that think that non-thermal energy like 5G is harmless. I've ran into people like this at trade shows and, things like that. And, but if it's non-thermal, how can it, that's not true. That's not real. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this milliwave can actually penetrate your skin below 5 millimeters. And what kind of changes do you think take place, whenever that's happening? Especially when there are other effects. I was talking to Shehnaz before, and I sent her this amazing paper that PubMed, that NIH actually published. I can't believe that they did, because it's a fantastic paper. But it goes through, and I presented this, some of the aspects of this paper on an international broadcast the other day, because it was so profound. And we want to let people know, just like I said before, that there are changes that take place in your body that are caused from this type of radiation, and then some. And, so Centropic says, what do they say? We are radiated 1 quintillion times more now than we were 10 years ago. I mean, no wonder there's so much disease.
Exactly. And that same paper that you mentioned, Maria, and I love it. Thank you, by the way. That paper did explain that how when the 3G happened, the 4G happened. And there's actually a book written on this subject, that every time when they upgraded the frequency, right, to enhance the bandwidth for the data communication, there was always some sort of situation, global pandemic situation in the whole world. So there is a correlation there because our human cell was designed to operate at an optimum level of 70 millivolts, right? Now, it was not supposed to have to go through so much bombarding of this non-thermal, supposedly invisible. I mean, it is invisible from our eyes, but non-invasive is what they use the word, which truly is not true.
It's not true.
It's not true. And that's the problem, that what you don't see doesn't mean it doesn't hurt you. It hurts you in a slow poisoning way. And you learn it when you have some chronic situation. And by that time, you are like so much, in a mess that it makes it hard for you to overcome that. And what we're saying is that that's why you have to be proactive and do something like preventive, like use a PEMF healing device or anything that you think that can help you activate your molecules.
Yep. Protection. So protection is key. And it's really sad in today's day and age that we have to protect ourselves from our government, who is supposed to be, protecting us, but they're not even following their own laws and guidelines. There have been multiple testimonies in front of Congress from physicians and environmental toxicologists saying, look, this is dangerous. And I'll tell you that even in San Diego, they had to wait for specialty clearance, and the 5G towers, for instance, had to go and make sure that they were several miles away from even, the airport. So whatever interference they're also causing that, with airlines, or they were trying to make them safe. I have no idea. I just know the articles that came out about it. So, I mean, these things are real, but I've had people, talk to me about, well, I've never felt any different. I don't, but then they give me a laundry list of drugs that they're on.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Are you kidding me?
Exactly. And I think let's ask the question, right? That if anybody's wondering whether what we're saying makes sense or not, okay, just ask yourself, ask your body, how is it feeling today, right? And if you're feeling amazing, then you're doing something right. Please share it with others, because at the end of the day, we all have to help everybody around us, so we can all do our best, because we are in a situation right now. We are in a crisis, and they actually say we are in a frequency war, because and just imagine all the satellites that Elon Musk is already putting it out there, but they're all going to be operating at gigahertz, which is basically, so all of these frequencies are going to interfere, like you just said, that they even themselves have concern, but we human beings, we can't detect it, we can't feel it like we should, or it would be helpful if we can, but we are impacted by it.
Let me tell you this story. So I was working with an environmental toxicology specialist, and she told me, she said, we actually have evidence that, so we have a type 2 diabetic, for instance, and this type 2 diabetic, she tries to control everything through her blood sugar, through her diet and her exercise. So if her blood sugar starts creeping up a little bit, she'll go for a walk outside and it will come down. So type 2s are a little bit different than type 1s. So for people out there, yes, I know the difference. But the moment she comes in, so in the wintertime, obviously she doesn't want to go and walk outside all the time. So when she comes in and she gets on her treadmill, her blood sugar doubles. Why is that? Because what they have determined is that the heavy metals inside of our bodies, and specifically her body, is reacting with the wireless technology, with the radiation, and causing an inflammatory response, which is causing the blood sugar to spike. So she will double her blood sugar whenever she's on a treadmill, interacting with the wireless device. But when she's out in nature, everything calms down. So Shehnaz and I are part of this company, Centropics, and they have the most amazing protection devices. And I know, Shehnaz, you don't have yours, but I did a little fun little video yesterday, because holy crap, did you see that video I did after hot yoga?
I did. I thought that was pretty amazing that and it was very real, and you were very open about how challenging it was for you to be in a hot yoga. Yeah.
I don't jump barefoot anymore. Like, I have metal in my foot, so I don't do that, so we're in hot yoga. And I'm in there, and and I'm big chested. And so, and she starts talking about do high knees, and I'm thinking, I'm going to get a black eye in here, just because I'm like, no way, I do not want to do this. And I'm under, and you know how hot it is. And so, and I'm laughing at myself, by the way, because it was hysterical, and you saw how red my face was, but honest to God, this device puts out a metabolic and a Schumann resonance frequency. So like a skin frequency, and it has to be touching your skin. And they put it down by your solar plexus for a reason, because, and it's optimally removing, I don't want to say sediment, but garbage, and decalcifying your pineal gland. So it's doing that. It restores your auric field, or your energy, your energetic field, which there are several layers. If you read Shehnaz's book, you can learn about some of those things, the quantum healing book. But yeah, so it will restore this within an hour. I mean, I have friends, this is no joke, who have taken one of the shots, who couldn't, evacuate her bowels at one point, and started wearing the bubble, and literally will take it off if she's going to go on a road trip, because evacuation station is like, ongoing. So, I mean, it really does work. And then when you pair it with the other device, like something like the cloud that Shehnaz and I have, holy cow. I mean, I really don't think I could be doing the things physically that I'm doing without assistance, because of the toxic environment that we live in.
And I agree with you. And, even though I don't have a bubble yet and I'm going to get one, but I have to say that even just by using cloud, I already start noticing, because I do hot yoga as well and I love it. And I was noticing that there are moves that was a little hard for me to balance, because, in 2019, I had a very, very challenging year with my shingle, right? It completely made me learn how to walk and, drive and everything. So it was very challenging for somebody who's yogi like me, because I was very good with balancing, but my balance was compromised. And I have been using it. It's been only 2 weeks, right? So I probably will have way more to share as the time goes by. But I was already noticing that I could do some poses that I would not do otherwise. So I'm actually saying that I'm on a cloud 9 using cloud.
Yeah.
That's my statement.
Or that you're stronger. Yeah, I mean, so muscle recovery gets literally cut in half, if not more, because this device has these 5 programs on it, and one of them is called Transformation. So Centropics literally has video evidence of fibroblasts, and they are remodeling. And this is a 24-hour, like as if they're closing a wound. Not that they're in a petri dish, but this is what the frequency does. So they have this evidence. It's phenomenal. So you can imagine for athletes, what type of recovery you're going to get literally on the spot. Or, if you have bad joints, or you feel like you're bone on bone, which a lot of people complain of, what's the first thing they do, Shehnaz? They go in and they get a freaking knee replacement. Exactly. I mean, honestly, guys, there's the frequency technology, and even the technology that Shehnaz was talking about, that you were talking about, it's decades old. Well, even then, PEMF was known to help remodel bone fractures, repair at the muscular level. I mean, PEMF has been doing that for years.
Exactly. And that's why NASA is actually partnering with companies that are doing PEMF device, because they truly want to help the astronauts, especially the astronauts who are living in the space, like, in this International Space Station, they're living like for a year. I mean, it's a very long time frame these astronauts are living. And we want to not have them lose all these bone masses. Yeah. In spite of the workout that they're given, because they have a very hard regimen to follow, to maintain that. But I wanted to go back to what you just said about, actually, first, I had 2 things, so I want to make sure I cover that. So with the bubble thing that you were mentioning, I wanted to cover that, during the certification training that I took, they actually showed that one of the Russian scientists, when he performed the experiment with someone who wasn't wearing a bubble and they had their cell phone in their hand, and like when you were referring to the auric field, right, the orbs around, that was showing the gaps wherever the phone frequency was interfering with their own auric field. And when they were wearing a bubble, then those gaps were filled. So the thing is that, because, what we're saying is that, yes, we do live in a world where we do have, everything is getting upgraded to 5G, and there's going to be 6G, there's going to be 7G. It's just where we are headed. Yep. What we need to do is, because we are a human being and we designed these machines for, whatever the goal was, but now we are doing it where we're kind of compromising our health. And so therefore, we're going to have to use technology to heal technological side effects. And that's why something like this truly helps, like you said, bubble. And then I wanted to talk about what you said about fibroblast, because I wanted to make sure people who don't have the machine, they may not understand. So there was a program 5, which was a transformation. And program to me is like kind of a frequency, and then the intensity is like an amplitude. So if you really have to understand in a very simple way, pulse electromagnetic field device helps you by giving you a specific frequency at a specific amplitude. And that is where all these programs comes in, all these intensity comes in. And when you start understanding your body and how it reacts, and the very fact that there is a proof already given, right, that our body does really, it expedites the whole process. I mean, we have already proof and there's no question about it. It's just perfect for you to use it yourself and then find it, what works for you, right?
Yeah, because there are 5 different programs in it. Relax, balance, energy, synchronize, and transformation. This is kind of a neat comparison. So, probably almost 100% of the people in the United States, at least, take supplements, right? So why do you take supplements? Well, you take supplements because you want to block a viral, you want to prevent or block a viral expression, or you want to enhance your good microbiome. And so you take all these supplements and do these things. Or for instance, over the past couple of years, people were, taking elderberry like crazy, things like that, because they're trying to block this and that. Or the way, for instance, my tincture works is you actually feed the cells. So you feed the cells their cellular nutrition so that they are not vulnerable. That is why when you have a self-limiting viral reaction, like let's say herpes simplex, okay? So just stick with me here because this is really interesting. So herpes simplex is a self-limiting viral expression, meaning it's going to carry out for weeks at a time, and then it will start healing on its own. It goes kaput, so it's self-limiting. But you can literally stop that reaction in its tracks, and I've done it for other people who get cold sores and things like that. You can literally stop it in its tracks within an hour, or you can prevent the eruption from happening. How do you do that? You saturate and you provide your cells with nutrition, and you saturate them with everything that they need. So you're building your body up. You're not doing terrible things to it like a chemotherapy, breaking it down. You're actually empowering your body, your smart body, to do what it already knows how to do. You can prevent certain reactions from taking place whenever you build those cells up. So now all you have to do is look at this and say, okay, I'm interested in frequency, but it kind of, scares me, or you don't know anything about it. Think about it like this. It is like a supplement for your cells, because something like a bubble, for instance, what we're doing is we're feeding your cells this perfect frequency, a frequency that they already recognize, that they already thrive on. Okay. So we're going to feed this to them 24/7. This is what we're going to, and I wear mine except for in the shower. It was with me in hot yoga. Okay. So like I'm in there getting it done. So think of it like a supplement, because you are feeding your cells, these, and saturating them with these amazing frequencies. And what happens whenever bad things come around and your cells are saturated and strong? You have this amazing auric field. It's just like a supplement. It's the same concept. So I want people to start thinking about it like that, and thinking, okay, but and then feeding your cells, continue to feed yourself, cellular nutrition and doing positive things like that. That's fantastic. But you know what? This is like the next level. So this actually combats not just the bad food, the bad water, right? And the fact that our food doesn't have the same nutrition that it did 10 years ago or even 20 years ago. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to combat the negative frequencies out in the world. And, so we're not fighting just food and water anymore. We're literally fighting the e-smog that literally surrounds us, and you can do it multiple ways, and then empowering your cells to regenerate and do better.
Exactly. And we know that the problem is not going to get solved on its own. It's actually going to keep becoming a bigger and bigger problem. So you have to make sure you nourish yourself with with the right nutrition and with the right healing devices, because I'm just going to use this cell phone, right? We charge our cell phone every night because it needs battery to charge. Similarly, when we are using the PEMF device, look at that as a human cell charger. it's interesting how they both have the word cell in it, right? So there is something to say. So we're just charging human cell by using these devices because we need that extra help because of where we are in our human evolution with technology and what we have done.
Yeah, it's true. And people, there's a lot of people, like, you have your routers in your house and your devices in your house and everything. And it can be complicated, to try to clean that up. The other thing that Centropics did was they have a device called a Cocoon that protects your entire house. Well, it's really cool because it has these little cards that have a gold, plate at the front, and you stick them in, and you can use 3 cards at the same time. So like, you stick them in, and then it pushes out a specific frequency. The one that I have right now that I love is Hawaii Harmony. So like, I get the frequency of the oceans and the mountains and all of the vegetation. So I get this frequency in my home. And if you're really in tune with your body, or if you've ever been, ill, then you know what it feels like to feel different. And Centropics literally has, like, a stack of cards like this. So they have, oh my goodness. So they have cards for food protection, for plant protection. I'm actually going to go to and show it to the local greenhouse where I live, because the nursery, because it will make your flowers. I mean, in the research that we have seen, your flowers and your plants last longer. I mean, a lot longer whenever you have this protection on board, and you
That
can
makes
change
sense.
the parts out.
So I wanted to ask you, by the way, because Maria, since you already have Cocoon, are you seeing I don't know if you have plants in your house or not, but are you seeing the difference?
I do with food, and I don't have the specific food card. I'm going to get this stack as soon as I can, because I want to try all of them, because they have this I frequency, this P frequency, this focus frequency, this sports frequency, and like, the days that I go and I do some crazy calisthenic hot yoga, if I ever go to the class again. I mean, I was not expecting when I got, I'm like, everybody has weights, and I thought, okay, am I in the right place? Because I haven't used the weights yet, and it was completely different. But I would put on like the sport mode in my Cocoon, maybe an hour before I go, and then I would probably go energy on my cloud and just really optimize my workout. And then of course I'm wearing this. I know it sounds like a lot, but when you start experiencing that next level of, I don't even want to say healing, but that next level of just total body wellness, then it's not something that you want to give up. I mean, you just don't. You just feel good, and you know what it was like to feel bad. So
exactly.
Not giving it up.
Right. And the biggest, the best thing about this whole thing is that now you can focus on truly what you came here to do. Like, you truly focus on whatever your calling is, whatever your passion is, whatever your dreams are. And you're no longer bogged down by just being a human, because being a physical human is only one part of the equation. We have so much to do with our humanness, because we're a multidimensional being. And when we're bogged down by diseases or by challenges or by pain or whatever all these things are, we're not able to move forward in our lives. So I think it's time that we give ourselves a little bit of a jumpstart ourselves in a right way, so that we can show up the best for ourselves and for others.
Yeah. And did you have a slide that you wanted to share? Were you going to go over that, or no?
Actually, yeah. So I was just wanting to make a point about the whole mitochondria, and maybe Maria can also help talk that. We'll go ahead and share that.
It's really cool when you see it at the cellular level, when you get to see really what's happening.
I wanted to explain everybody just a quick way, right? So that people understand when we use these words that, so blood, the reason I'm wearing the red shirt today, because we're doing this podcast, was because life is in the blood, and everything we're talking about is truly affecting your blood at the cellular level, which is where the healing occurs, which is where the transformation and rejuvenation occurs, right? That ultimately enables you to do better, because your body truly has all the tools and gadgets to self-heal, self-sustain, self-replicate. It needs help only because we are being bombarded by the EMF that is not good. Like Maria, when you were sharing that example of a woman who had a sugar condition, right? And then you were saying that when she went out and walked, she felt good. It's because she was getting soaked into the Earth electromagnetic field, which is really good for us. That's why being in the nature is always going to be good for us. Now, what the PEMF device does, it gives you that even when you're in your house. So you can actually access that good healing electromagnetic field when you don't get to go out and walk and do other things.
Yeah. Look at your, look at specifically the DNA of the double helix. So if we look at that and we think, okay, we know especially from papers, but just Shehnaz and I, of course, we've been following this for a really long time, the effects that radiation has on your DNA. So it causes double-stranded DNA breaks. That includes, guys, CT scans, any type of, I mean, they are one of the worst things, and I used to be heavily involved in radiology. I mean, I'll never do anything like that again. As far as like, to my body, unless I have something emergent, like, an accident or something like that. But definitely not, as screening or anything else, because I don't want those double-stranded DNA breaks. This is what radiation does. And it's not just from CT scans, it's also from the 5G. And like this paper was talking about, I just want to say this really quick, because when you're looking at the cell, when you're looking at your DNA, you have to understand that it will break. It's broken, and damage is caused because of a lot of different things, not least of which is EMF, that you get morphological changes of your cells. Whenever you have double-stranded DNA breaks, you get these reactive oxygen species that wreak havoc and cause vascular injury and organ damage all over your body. Your microcirculation is impaired. You get, inflammatory cytokines that start exploding because, oh my goodness, I have these DNA breaks. I have to go and fix this. This is your immune response. But at the cellular level, there are things like this that happen that you have to, or you should, protect yourself from. If you can't afford devices, unplug your routers, your televisions, things of that nature, and try to spend half of your time, being in nature or outside or just away from all of it. Just do what you can. Because I know that sometimes people, they can't afford, certain things. So get something that's a great antioxidant that takes care of that oxidative stress and those DNA breaks that we're all assaulted with every day.
So Maria, I wanted to ask a question because I wanted to make sure I understood. When you were talking about the double helix getting impacted by the radiation, right? I want to make sure that, like, I know because, you look at the blood, of course, under the microscope, so you understand this better. Please tell me, like, what happens to the double helix? Are you saying it changes its configuration, or what happens?
So in some regards, that you actually get DNA manipulation, and that usually comes from a chemical. So like potassium sorbate mixed with high concentrations of vitamin C. So that's when you would get like a DNA manipulation. Epigenetics starts changing. When you're talking about radiation, you're literally talking about breaking the helix. So you're talking about double-stranded DNA breaks that happen.
That's pretty amazing. I never knew that the radiation truly goes to that level.
Wow. Sure. And we know that from papers and research that 5G itself can penetrate. There's some earlier research that said it was only like 2 millimeters or something. The people that I have recently been involved with have told me that it's more like 5 millimeters. So we're looking at, I've got something in development, and I don't mind to share, but something in development that's actually a nice lotion that involves cannabinoid, because our endocannabinoid system is what we have to protect, which is, I think, why my formulation works so well on so many things. That's my tincture from Abeytu. And there's something in development where I'm trying, and they gave me this idea, actually, the environmental toxicologist, something that would be a barrier that you could put, on your body, your exposed body, that would be a barrier preventing that 5 millimeter penetration. And I believe that I've done it.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. And
Yeah, because
wow.
it's that nicely absorbable, and I didn't have to use nanotech, and I didn't have to use, you know, liposomes or anything like that. But and I haven't even talked to you about that, but that's like something that I was working on, you
That,
know.
yeah, that sounds really cool. And as I said, I'm very interested in all these things that you're going to be doing, right? Because especially anything to do with helping us live more optimally, I'm there with you because, you know, I mean, being an engineer and being a health coach, being a life coach, being a quantum healer, and understanding all of these concepts, I really value what you're doing, by the way, because we really need people to roll up their sleeves and do what is needed, because it's time to do the house cleaning, a big time for us.
Yeah, and there's a lot of useless things out there that, you know, I mean, but I think people, and I'll tell you something, this is what's really amazing. So, you know that we won you know, the best anti-aging award, right, last year in New York City.
Yeah.
Okay. So my company won that award over some really big heavy hitters. And I mean, I was shaking. I was so happy to walk up and accept the award. But this is really cool. There's the organization that honored us is a scientific beauty organization, and they focus only on chemicals and the science behind things, what's new and upcoming improvements in the industry and things like that. And I can tell you guys that there is a massive movement towards clean beauty, and that's for men and for women. And they're starting to highlight companies that are getting it done, that don't have garbage in their products. And this is where the industry is going. So pretty soon, you know, your Oil of Olayas, your L'Oreal's, and Estee Lauders, and all of these companies, if they want to keep up, they're going to have to clean it up, because this is where the movement's going. I get this newsletter literally every day.
I love
every
that.
day.
I love that, Maria. And I think that that's what, and actually everybody, all of us, like, even if you want to wear makeup or if you want to, you know, present ourselves a certain way, if you can start using everything that's clean, then it accentuates our beauty. And while it's accentuating it, we're still giving our body good nourishment. And that's what we all have to go towards, that you can still wear like a light makeup and stuff, but it actually helps. It's not interfering with whatever you are supposed to be. You know, we are organic human being. I wanted to ask you, Maria, if you can just give us a quick, like a little bit of a scientific or however technical explanation that why something like Abeytu tincture can help with anti-aging.
Okay. Yeah. So this is so we were just awarded a patent as an antimicrobial for my company. We were just, and this patent is about 3 years ahead of where I thought it would be. So this was another huge accomplishment that just happened. So we're pretty excited about it. But the reason, and I say that because it is so effective. And one of the reasons that it's so effective, even as an anti-aging product, and it's a sublingual tincture. This is why it won, guys, is because it's a sublingual. So it's literally rebuilding tissue from the inside out. And it's using, you know, the immune system and your smart body to do it. There are 4 pillars of aging: liver, kidney, immune, and metabolic. So if you can tap into each one of those systems and start to improve, because I can't make any medical claims, but you can start to improve the efficiency of their processes, then you can start to reverse aging of all cells in all pathways. So what we do is I take and I use CBD isolate, a 4 milligram dose, just 4 milligrams. You can have hundreds per day, you know, whatever your body weight is. And for instance, a small child, I believe, can have like 40 milligrams throughout the day. You're getting 4, you know, in a sublingual. So there's no THC in it. It's isolate. And I use that as my vehicle because you can access multiple white blood cells, multiple immune cells. You can access multiple cells because they have these particular receptors on them. That's what I do. And then I deliver a key concentration of nutrients that goes in and empowers your cell, right? So that you can heal from the inside out. And then you're looking at helping all of these metabolic processes in your liver, your kidney, and your immune function. You've covered all 4. And then you start to rebuild tissue.
Wow, that's pretty good. So now, okay, so of course, because I take your tincture every day and I'm also using the PEMF device, I'm going to ask you this question. How does they work together? Or do they?
Fascinating. So this is the feedback that I've been getting. I have to tell you that a gentleman texted me this morning, and I'm so thankful that he did. So he texted me this morning and he's been on it. He's got a diagnosis that's not a good diagnosis. And I said, okay, you're going to hyperdose. You'll keep your dosing, up here for about the first month. And we call this like a bolus. So we're giving you a higher dose to get your body kicked back into gear. He's had the injections. So we're fighting against a bioweapon and a depleted immune system. So I will tell you that he texted me this morning and he uses the cloud and he always has his bubble on him. And he says, my energy is different. I feel amazing. I want you to come into this Zoom meeting and, hear about, some of these. He's trying to include me in, talks with some practitioners and things like that. Another person who started about 4 weeks ago, I told her, kind of a type 2 diabetic type of candidate. So I said, take it 10 minutes before. So 10 minutes before you go and you use your cloud. Same thing like with a meal, so take it 10 minutes before your meal. It's fantastic. So I told her, take it 10 minutes before your cloud, go in, use your cloud and let me know what you think. So she writes me pretty regularly and says, I can't make clinical claims here, but I will tell you that her mood that used to be really, really, really bad, has improved exponentially. Weight loss. And it seems to me, because I don't have the scientific research, but I know how both mechanisms of action work. They are a very, very nice synergistic complement because they're both working at the molecular level.
Exactly.
We know that the tincture actually improves the electrical conductivity of your cells throughout your body. We know that because of, a physician that did some of this testing for us. So whenever you add molecular activation on top of that throughout the body using the cloud, it just seems like everything is just next level better.
Right. And what you're basically saying is that you are almost activating the cell to kind of have
providing the nutrition,
appropriate voltage, because the potential, right, for it. So you are actually helping with the potential of the cell, and then the cloud is helping with providing the electricity. So it's kind of like they both work in cohesion. And I think that actually proves the point that, because your body pretty much is doing all the incredible complex machinery itself, you're just giving it, like, I'm going to steal the thunder, by the way, Maria, because I remember you saying that to me 2 weeks ago, that the award-winning cellular nutrition combined with award-winning molecular activation, we can move the mountain.
It's true.
That's exactly
what it is. I mean, it's award-winning cellular nutrition because we can demonstrate the bioavailability. We can demonstrate the after, effects, not in a laboratory, but by anecdotal evidence of hundreds of people. So this is how we do it, because who has $7 million for the FDA?
Exactly. No, I'm so glad. So let's wrap it up. So do you have anything last thing to say?
No, I think, well, yeah, so I always have something to say, but I feel very fortunate. You know how they say right place, right time, right people. I have to tell everybody that I would not, and Shehnaz would not personally align with a company that wasn't energetically had the same stability or the same frequency that we do. And I know, and I can speak for both of us about how excited we are to be, number one, involved with my company together, because Shehnaz is an affiliate for us. But number two, to now be involved together with Centropics, because we we are finding our tribe and growing it with like-minded people and helping people literally all over the world. I mean, one of my mats went overseas, you know, toward Indonesia, and I'm not going to spill any beans about it, but you know, it's we literally have people all over the world that we can connect with. So, you know, that's what we're here for. And we're not going to just go off of something because somebody said it was great.
Exactly. And you hit to the nail. So this is not, so while we are, you know, providing ourselves the best cellular nutrition, best healing PEMF device, we're building a community and a tribe. And I think that when you're choosing these things, so make a decision for yourself that what type of tribe you want to be part of. And if you feel good about the tribe that me and Maria are part of, then please join us, because then we will provide
the best tribe. Our tribe is the best. It's so fun.
We're not biased at all. We're not biased at all, but truly we do want ourselves to heal, and we want to heal others. And you know, you have to walk the talk. So if you can tell by the way we're living our lives whether that something resonates with you, and then you decide based on that. And I'm going to leave this PEMF talk with this last statement, that because I'm a Star Trekkie and I love Star Trek, and if you have watched Star Trek, you know, in Star Trek they were using devices like Tricorder. That is pretty much where we are headed. So when you use PEMF device, like for example Centropics, you are truly availing the world that we live in, because it's time that we avail everything that we have so that we can live a optimum healthy life. Thank you.
Thank you.